Hi guys, it's Monday and you can't see him, but Momo's with me. Hey Momo. Yeah, just hug. Momo's been shut in a crawl space with the other cats for like 4 hours a day for 2 days because we had an open house over the weekend. And that's only part of the fresh diarrhea spewing hell that has been the last week of my life. It started about 2 weeks ago, but the last week has just been blended power washed shit. And it's because I'm used to dealing with gamers. And gamers, like Momo, have a certain ethical code. There are certain things that even most trolls won't do without it being trolling. If you're trying to not screw with someone, if your name and your reputation is on something, if it matters to you, you want it to be high quality, and why are you not focusing camera? There we go. And you want it to be fair. Fairness is very important to gamers. Fairness is not important to normies, and that's what this past week has taught me. Fairness is something that most people think is for dummies, and I think that's why gamers tend to enjoy gaming worlds, gaming realities more than real life, because there are hardwired rules and fairness, and if there isn't fairness, then people get mad and the developer fixes the game to make it more fair instead of this ongoing badly designed, poorly balanced game we call life. And we had, I've been talking to the patrons about other stuff. They're seeing this as the whole progress. So if you want to see the shit show unveil in real time, help support this channel, become a monthly patron, patreon.com/LeannaK. Your support is very appreciated right now, because not only has, this last month and a half been bullshit and ridiculous, it's been really freaking expensive. It is expensive to sell a house. Like, insane. The extra costs you have to incur when, I've never gone from sold house to sold house before. I went from renting to buying. Totally different thing. You get all the BS about buying, but you don't get the BS on both ends, So this has been a real learning experience for me, let me tell you. But we did have a conditional sale. And the guy, as part of the sale, they have to do a home inspection. I don't know if you've ever gone through one of these things, but they tear your place apart. They go into the attic, they go into the crawl space, they go into everything, they pull everything out, they look at shit. So we had to move stuff away from the walls in the crawl space. We've been in this house, nearly 20 years. You accumulate stuff. And so it took us days of pulling stuff out of the crawl space. And of course, the boxes accumulated in the rest of the house. And then he decides he's not going to take it. And he's not taking it because there's anything wrong with the house. He just, pie in the sky, land developer guy. No, on second thought, not what I want to do with it. Which is not the purpose of the conditional sale based on inspection. But totally legal. You can do it. It is totally a buyer's market right now. Bend over and take it. That's what you sign up for doing this. But now our place was nowhere near showing ready, right? And we've already lost all the days because it's listed and it's days on the market and the clock's ticking because you don't put it down. But now our days on the market number is less because he wasted our damn time. But not only did I waste our time, he's now periodically slowly driving by the house, like he's casing the joint. And my husband and I have different theories about the whole thing. I think he's still just thinking about it because he's a fucking rich guy with nothing better to do. And this is how he spends his time. This is how he fills his day, just screwing with other people. My husband thinks it's he's waiting to see if it sells and he'll lowball us if it's been on the market for a while. You can do that from a computer, but he's driving by all creepy like. And it's like the second or third time it happened, I just wanted to go like full like Wolverine on the guy. Just get off! Like, you know, he wasn't technically on my property because he's in a car, but I just wanted to storm his car like freaking Wolverine, yelling, "Get off my property!" Air shotgun. You know, it was so unnerving. And that's part of the reason I want out of this neighborhood is everybody's like that. Why? Because it's a rich neighborhood and I cannot stand it. This place, this whole neighborhood is now just this, you know, amusement park of entitled capitalism. Like, it is just gross. And that's why there's no community. That's why nothing happens here. That's why we have no amenities and lousy transit, because all these people with their giant cars and their giant houses, that's all they do. They buy more giant houses and more giant cars, and they think this somehow makes their life worth living. But if they were actually happier people, they wouldn't feel the need to screw with other people. Anyway, enough ranting. Then, so we went bananas for 3 days. Because there are people interested in seeing this place, but there are other places on the market too. I don't care what the problem is right now. There's all these doom and gloom articles about how the market is cooling. And so people are looking for deals. But we've been in a couple places and they've all gone for over asking price. I don't know what cool market they're looking at. There's plenty of people making money, but you have to like know what you're doing and hold out for the right offer. And oh my God, it takes guts and balls of steel to do this. It is just insane. But all these people think they can just screw with you because it's not a great market. The market's cooling. You know, they send out all these signs. Oh no, sellers, take less than what your place is worth because reasons. And it's a good thing I went around and saw these places, even though, you know, the other fun thing is part of the reason that we've seen a lot of places conditional sold and then they're back on the market. The banks are just being assholes right now. We looked into bridge financing so we could buy a place and then wait for our place to sell, just get the move over with, whatever, thanks, we'll pay a few grand just for the convenience of it. The banks won't give us a mortgage. The bank won't give us bridge financing because we're retiring our mortgage. If we were actually going to take out another mortgage with the bank, if they would have us on, you know, the hook for interest payments for 15 years, then they'd help us out with bridge financing. TD Bank. But no, because we're actually being financially responsible and want to live with less debt, they won't help us retire the debt. They don't want their principal back. They'd rather it just sit here and collect interest off us. They will not help us be more financially responsible. So we have to go to a private broker to bridge finance the new house. Most private brokers won't guarantee bridge financing until you actually have a firm sale agreement for your existing place, which defeats the freaking purpose of 60-day bridge financing. And they're being more fair than the banks, which is just bullshit. Like, sorry, we're not going to make you into an interest addict. Piss off. No, they're at least going, look, this is a business. We get it. We just need some basic idea of, we need to know how much you're getting for the house. So we need to know it's a collateralized loan. Totally fair. Totally fair. I totally see where they're coming from. But, you know, like, I see that really useful if, you know, the place you're buying is a 30-day closing and the place you're selling is a 60-day closing. Fine. But that's about all it's good for. For people who want to move, because like us, there's pets that we can't just stuff somewhere for a few weeks because there's a gap. We're kind of up the creek. And like the complete lack of humanity, the complete lack of systems willing to help people just made me realize how privileged I have been to most of the time deal with gamers. Because I've been doing this full time for about 2 years now, maybe 3, but 2.5. So most of the time I deal with you guys. And the thing about you guys is you guys are really solidly invested in the idea of fairness. I mean, a lot of you found this channel because of your concerns about ethics in the gaming industry. And everybody kind of sneered at that, like, oh, right. Now I'm starting to think that maybe they sneered at it because they're these friggin' normies who think that ethics are for stupid people. And the thing is, ethics make sense. Because if everybody, because I think, and I'm going to go esoteric here, but this is actually what I think other gamers believe. Let's test this. Let's see if you agree with this. I think that the collective good is tied to self-interest. And this is why I identify as a libertarian, but agree with almost no established libertarian principles. Because I don't think that collective good and enlightened self-interest are completely disconnected. They're opposite ends of the spectrum. I believe that there is a very real overlap between collective good and self-interest. And that overlap is where libertarian principles should fit. So, I mean, I've had debates at conferences and things like that with libertarians who think there should be no such thing as public roads. All roads should be private. You should be able to put a road on your property. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense, because then you're going to have this checkerboard road system. Like, it's like the American healthcare system. That's the problem with it, is that, up here, our system has problems, but overall, we have a single payer system that grants near universal coverage. I say near universal because there's certain secondary things like physiotherapy that I think are exceptionally important and aren't covered. But it also controls costs, because then you've got this economies of scale that allow the provincial government to negotiate on drug prices. And so, while yes, the collective good is served because everyone gets health care, also the price of generic drugs decreases because of that collective bargaining power. That, to me, is why I think socialized healthcare, why single-payer healthcare is totally in keeping with libertarian principles. Where am I going with this? This is how I feel gaming goes. The reason people get so angry when a developer pulls shady shit isn't strictly about self-interest. It's a common good response. It's one thing, some people are like, EA sucks, I won't buy EA. That's the self-interested approach, and this is the way I thought about it for a really long time. Like I said, libertarian leanings, right? They can do whatever they want with their game. I can choose to not buy it. Simple. And it took me a long time to realize why people got so incensed about less than ethical corporate practices. Keeping in mind, I came from the television industry. I was the frog in the boiling water, okay? What I've come to understand is that the problem is it's not fair. And that gamers who are a little bit older, more established in their career, they never forgot being that powerless kid who was picked on and had no one helping them. So they are extremely invested, and I shouldn't say they, I'm part of this, extremely invested in fairness as a principle because of that collective good mentality. But there's also an enlightened self-interest thing, because they want the world to be better for people like them, therefore making the world better for them themselves. The problem is Silicon Valley has totally screwed that up. The nerds that were sucked into Silicon Valley, there's such rarefied air there. Everything's so ridiculously expensive, and you get meals provided, and there's this and there's that, and they get pulled out of the real world so much that they can't help us anymore. They're fighting over microaggressions and nonsense like that, because they really have no real problems, right? And they're creating problems. Silicon Valley is creating a huge homeless problem because people can't afford to live there anymore, who've been there their whole lives. So Silicon Valley failed on the making the world better for nerds because they want to sell iPhones to morons. They want to sell search engines to morons. So they've forgotten they're a people. They've gone and they've built this sort of collective dystopia over in Silicon Valley that's designed to keep out the rest of the world so they don't have to deal with the impact of shilling their bloated, overpriced, spyware-ridden crap, but people can use it. People understand it. You know, people buy an iPhone and only use 10% of the features because, oh, it's an iPhone, they saw it on TV. Whereas gamers are sort of, and I think this is why we get dumped on so much. There's this artistic element to it, but we're not Silicon Valley. We're not that sort of tools driven. It's an experience driven thing. And so a lot of these tech companies get away with the ethical responsibilities they're having by saying we're not content creators, we're not media companies, we make a tool. What people choose to do with that tool is up to them, but we don't actually make content. Now that's starting to slip. Now they're going, oh, maybe we do make content, but it's a tool. They're just picking whatever morality suits them in a given situation, so they have to do the least possible for other human beings. Gamers don't think that way. There is a sharing economy in gaming that it took me a while to get used to, but now I really, really like it. The fact that people are like, I'll do art because I like what you're doing. Here's my art, you know, and they'll take money way below market rates or no money at all just because they believe in it. And then here's my music. I made all this music. Please, I think what you're doing is great. Please use my music. Just give me credit. You know, I'm a singer. I can do this. I can do that. I'm an artist. Like it's crazy the way people just give stuff because they believe in the project. And this is what I have been increasingly immersed in for 2.5 years. And now I have to come out of that blissful utopic bubble to sell my house. And I'm like, it's like I have no immunity to bullshit anymore because you guys have spoiled me. And people are like, how can you claim gamers you had it too good? How can you say that because of all the trolling and this and all the things you've been through? And it's like, yeah, whatever. That was like re-entry, man. Like, you gotta come in and you gotta earn your cred because they're trying to wean out the assholes. So if you can do that burn, if you can go through and survive all the trolling and the nonsense and earn your cred, then you're in. And people are giving and free and they're helpful and it's awesome. You know, I get that's in-group, out-group, and that's a very high-tension community, but it's still great once you're in. And like, you guys have been so awesome to me, and I'm getting a whole new appreciation for that because of these bags of dicks I have to deal with this stuff. Like, this is what the real life is like. No matter people want to spend most of their time in Astaroth, you know, like, holy crap. Like, people suck, but gamers are awesome. And I mean, maybe it's good that we have such a crappy reputation. Hear me out, okay? Hear me out. And I think this is part of the problems with the culture war that's going on in gaming, because when the normies come in, they bring their cookie cutter subdivisions full of shitty built houses with shitty built floors and shitty built kitchens. And oh, they look super pretty, but they're built like crap. And let me tell you, every time I go into one of these subdivisions, because you can't really know if you're in a subdivision before you go look, but I feel like suddenly I've driven into The Sims, and you know how I feel about The Sims. But there's a reason I dislike that, because everyone is the same. And the thing about gamers is, you know, anything with the internet, you find out, you know, these sort of deviant things that people really like. And we're all sort of like, okay, well, you're in this, like, you're like me, so you probably have something you just haven't told me with, so we're all cool, right? Like, I like that. I prefer that. Like, I prefer this, like, Moss Eisley Cantina thing where, you know, It's awesome. Like, it's kind of weird and everybody's kind of funny looking, but the music's good. It's like, it's cool. It's cool. Like, it may not make sense to the rest of the world, but it makes sense to us, right? And if these normies come in, and I think this is what people have been trying to say. It hasn't been about race. It hasn't been about gender. It hasn't been about whether you're gay or not, whatever. It's if the normies come in, and there's a lot more of them than there are of us, but if they become the majority in gaming, then they are going to bring their selfish, superficial, dishonest, uncreative, uninspiring, bland reality with them. And that's exactly what we try to avoid in gaming. Am I right? Like, have I got this right now? Have I gotten, like, red pilled on this issue? Not that red pill, but you know what I mean, the Matrix metaphor. Let me know, because this is really, did I do the Patreon? God, I don't remember. I'll do it again here. Help support this channel, become a monthly patron. Patreon.com/LeannaK. I am so sleep deprived right now. So sleep deprived. I'm exhausted. But maybe that's it. Maybe I'm having like an epiphany. Like maybe this is like a spirit journey. Or it's like that, you know, Mormons, when they come of age, they have to go out and live in the world for a while, and it terrifies them so much that they come back and want to be a Mormon forever, that sort of thing. Like, maybe that's what's happening with me and normies. Like, holy crap, I hate these people. You know, there's one family, I hope they put in an offer, because I really like that. I really like them. The little girl was super cute. They were 15 minutes early, and so we were still here, and she was like, doggy and kitties, and she's a cute little girl. It was awesome. I hope they take it, because they seem to have humanity. These other people, holy crap. Like, I love you guys now. I didn't appreciate you before properly. You guys are awesome. Because as, you know, argumentative and rigid and detail-oriented, not a bad thing, but, you know, and outwardly rude as you seem sometimes, you are authentic. And I can reasonably assume you are coming at me straight. There are no ulterior motives other than you just care about what you care about. That is not the world I have been living in for the last week. Holy snot balls. I'm going to go, I got to make dinner, God. I'm going to go and drink or something. I'm wearing pants. Maybe that's the problem. I'm going to take off my pants. And maybe that'll make me feel better. No pants. All right, see you tomorrow.